Did you miss me? Makes me kind of want to have kids. Kinda. Undecided. Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube. Don't know when the last time we spoke was, but a lot has changed. So, okay, as you can see, I'm in a different room. You can't see a lot. There are two walls that you can see, so it doesn't give you much context, but I'm still in Sydney. I have been going from first Airbnb, which I showed you guys, to second Airbnb, which I'm pretty sure I showed you guys. Now I'm staying with my friends Till and Dawn. They have graciously put me up for a bit. Melbourne went into lockdown and I did not want to fly back and be stuck in lockdown and not be able to train and just live my life. So that was kind of the decision to extend my stay up in Sydney. But it's been a month since I've been here, and questions are popping up a lot in my Insta question box whenever I do one of, so did you move to Sydney? So I thought I would clear it up and do a little chit chat, catch up, life update. So for anyone that doesn't really know my situation, maybe it's your first time coming to my channel. Hi, boring video for you to watch probably. But I am originally from Melbourne. I grew up in a little beach town, like away from the city, and then like lived there forever, and then 4.5 years ago, don't even remember, moved to Sydney with my then boyfriend. We then broke up after a year. He went back to Melbourne. I stayed in Sydney and just like fell in love. My mind was just like, how weird would it be to have a boyfriend and to actually like say like we? Like, I'm so used to being like, I like this, I like that, and just like reminiscing on my history, being like, we. I haven't said that in such a long time. It's so weird. Okay, don't mind me, I'm just having a moment. And so it was kind of, yeah, didn't love Sydney the first year I lived here. And then I moved to the east, like eastern suburbs, like beaches, and that was just, I just fell in love. I was like, whoa, this is Sydney. Like, you don't move to Sydney to be in the Melbourne of Sydney. You move to Sydney to be in the beaches, in my opinion. So yeah, absolutely loved Sydney. And then I moved back last year, 6 months ago, because my sister had a baby, first baby in the family. It's just me and my sister, the only siblings. We're super close, and it was really difficult being away from that. So when he was born, if you've seen the previous videos on here, you'll see that I drove down to Melbourne, which is like a 10-hour drive, as soon as like the day he was born, so that I could be involved and be part of that. And that was in March, the end of March, when like lockdown had really happened. So I spent his first 2 months of his life like living with my sister and helping and being part of that, and that was literally like the best, mems. Oh my god, I'm having like a weird muscle spasm. I just got back from the gym. That was weird. And that was just like honestly magic. Like, I'm not a baby person, I'm not really a maternal person, but being around a newborn, oh my god, makes me kind of want to have kids. Kinda. Undecided. And then lockdown lifted and I drove back to Sydney and just lived my life, and then Melbourne went back into lockdown for like ever. I don't know how long. It was maybe like 3 or 5, no, 3 or 5, I don't know. It was horrible for them because the rest of Australia was living their life and they were just like, cool, we are literally in like the worst lockdown. So for the first time ever, they, or like since forever, I'm really good with the stats today, guys, don't quote me. They shut borders between New South Wales and Victoria, which is, I'm in New South Wales and my family's in Victoria. And that just sort of pulled the freedom rug out from under me, which it's definitely one of my biggest values, and why I actually started my own business was because freedom and flexibility are two things that I just, they make me feel like at peace, aligned. Like, I hated working for someone else. I hated being on someone else's clock and schedule. Like, I just like to make my own decisions and live my own life and like go to the gym when I choose. And I sound like a brat, but you know what? That's just me. I actually thought something was wrong with me when I worked for someone else. I thought I was a really bad worker and lazy, and I just realized it's just because I don't like working for other people and I'm actually a really hard worker. Okay, I'm going off on some tangents. Anyway, after some very long deliberations, and like I've spoken on here about my decision to move back to Melbourne, I decided to move back to Melbourne. I still hadn't seen Rio, which is my nephew, since he was 2 months old. It was really hard. My sister was really struggling, and you know, none of our family could go up and see her. Like, it was just a really hard time to be away from her specifically. And the fact that I wasn't able to even go there if I wanted to was just like, it was so awful for me, let alone, you know, horrible for her being a new mum and everything that new mums go through. So my lease was coming up and I was like, you know what, I think it might be time to move back to Melbourne. Like, I never saw myself staying in Sydney forever. It was kind of like, I still feel like Victoria's home, just because like all my family's there and we're a really close family. So yeah, I decided to move back. So I like sold all my furniture and like gave all my clothes away, and there's so many YouTubes on here about me like packing up my house and getting so emotional about leaving, because I was still like, I wasn't leaving because I didn't like Sydney. I love it, and I would go down to the beach and just cry because I'm like, this is so nice, why am I leaving? And then when I got back, it was great. And so for the last 6 months I've been living with my sister, her husband, and their baby, who is now, you know, I was there from him being, I don't know, 8 months, maybe a bit less, to now like over a year. I'm not going to be that person that says, yeah, he's 14 3/4 months. He's just over a year, okay? He was born in March and it's now June. Anyway, that 6 months, I haven't spoken too much on here about it, but I would say I was probably depressed. And it's not just because like I moved to Melbourne and I was depressed. I've been going through so many health things, and I've touched on my 2 values earlier in this video. Another one is health, obviously, and my health just hasn't been good. It's been like hormones out of whack, gut health out of whack. I've literally gained like 7 or 8 kilos since moving to Melbourne. And that's, you know, a combination of probably less activity, probably eating more, but like not really much. So there's a lot of hormone stuff going on. I was on the Accutane. It actually affected my thyroid. We did before and after tests and it slowed my thyroid down, which is crazy. And, you know, not having my own space, like I'm used to living alone, and then going from living alone to living in a very busy house with my family, who I absolutely adore. And my sister and I lived together before, so we're actually so good. It's cool, you know, I got to be part of Rio's life in a way that, you know, not many people get to as an auntie, and absolutely cherish that. But yeah, I did go apartment hunting. I didn't love anything, and then I applied for a place, and then it turned out that the material, the cladding, was like combustible and could literally blow up in flames and was going to need to be removed. But yeah, it just wasn't me. And then, you know, I was really stuck in this idea of living around the corner from my sister, but I don't actually love the suburb that she's in. So Melbourne, so hipster. So I was like, maybe if I move Bayside, so at least I'm around nature and water. So I was looking for apartments, and oh my God, they are so nice and so affordable compared to Sydney. It's actually crazy. Like, I could get a 2-bedroom, beautiful, modern, all of the like bells and whistles and like content central for like 400 or 450 a week, which I know is still expensive, but like in Sydney that would be about 900 to 1200 a week. Like, this is what we're talking about in the areas that I'm looking in. So anyway, I know I'm going on and I hate that, because it's like, can you just tell us? But who doesn't love a story? And also, there are a lot of you that were also really relating to what I said about moving back to Melbourne to be with family and doing similar things, and really resonating with that. So I just feel like I want to share my thinking through both the decision to move back to Melbourne and my decision about where I actually want to be now. So that's all the sort of, I mean, yeah, going through a really hard time mentally, and just really, one of the big reasons I moved back was to be more connected. Because I have a bigger friendship group in Melbourne. And then when I got back, I was like, they literally all live an hour and a half away down the coast where we grew up and went to school and stuff. They're all married and they all have kids. Like, love them to death. I never see them. I saw them literally like 3 times in the 6 months I was down there. And that would be when I would drive down and visit them, because like they're busy parents, they can't just be driving up to Melbourne. So I had no life in Melbourne. It was actually like really shit. Like my sister and her husband had more of a life, and they are the ones with the baby. So I was like, this is shit. So I did start catching up with a few people I met on Instagram, and that was really nice. But I just, yeah, I guess I could have made more, I could make more of an effort to set up networks there. It's just, you know, in Sydney I've got like makeup artists and photographers and locations and a lot of things. And I was starting to set up networks with like my coach Jacob and like the gym there, which is such a great environment, and a photographer that I met and a few people on Instagram. Like I would make it work, but it was just, you know, a lot of effort, which I guess I wasn't really up for, having just done it in Sydney. And there's not really, I hadn't tapped into like an entrepreneurial space where people like business owners and doing the same thing as me, which is really important when you're a business owner, because it's really freaking lonely. So that's that element of things. Now I came up to Sydney a month ago for the Stacks Seamless P.s V4 event, which I vlogged, and I've literally been here since. And I've been toying with the idea of, do I want to move back to Sydney? Do I want to stay in Melbourne? No, I feel like I can make it work in Melbourne. Like I'll move over Bayside and find a place. And I've lived in so many different suburbs in Melbourne, and people always say like, oh, you need to try different suburbs. I'm like, literally lived there for like over 10 years. I've tried them all. Like I literally moved every single year. I was in Brunswick, Carlton, North Carlton, Fitzroy, North Fitzroy, Richmond, Toorak, Brunswick, I already said that, Brunswick East. Like literally, I've lived in so many suburbs in Melbourne. So yeah, don't come at me with that. So we're in Sydney now, okay? So we're kind of caught up. Yeah, I wanted it to be an experiment to see if I loved Sydney, and was like, okay, because I just really struggle with life decisiveness. Like I'm really good with business decisions and things like that are that way inclined, but with my personal life I get stuck in this rut of like, the universe will give me a sign. And like reading into all these signs, and I'm like, why can't you just listen to your gut? But I'm like, no, my gut told me this 100%, it's Melbourne. And then the next day I wake up and I'm like, oh no, but it's Sydney. And I'm like, why can't you decide? So, and like pros and cons lists and everything, I don't know, it's just sometimes some decisions just, you know, they take a long time to make. So I came to Sydney, and the like weekend I was like, it was full on, you know, we had the event. I'm such an introvert where like if I'm at events too much, around people too much, I'm just like, oh, I just want to crawl up into a ball and like sleep and hide and not talk to anyone. So it was testing from that regard. Then when I got to my Airbnb, I was like, yeah. And then I was in Bondi and I was like, oh my God, I love Bondi. And then when I got to the really good Airbnb, I was like, whoa, I actually love it here. I actually went to a house inspection. I actually asked the Airbnb people if I could long-term rent their place, and they're like, oh, we're actually on a holiday, so like we actually live there. And I was like, hey, you guys. So you can see that I am starting to feel much more at home in Sydney despite being away from my family. You know, lockdown happened. If we want to go back to me taking signs from the universe, it's like, well, I wouldn't have extended my stay if that hadn't happened. So, and they're only just coming out now, which is why I've been up here so long. So anyway, I have decided that I am moving back to Sydney. Yeah, can we play cheers here? Because it's like, took me that long to decide and say it. And I don't feel like you guys are going to be surprised at all, especially if you follow me on Instagram, because everyone's commented, not everyone, all 360,000 of you have commented. I wish I got that much engagement on my Instagram, honestly. But a lot of people comment saying like, you're glowing, like you're looking so happy, like Sydney suits you. I'm like, you know what, I do just feel more at home here right now, and whether that's a forever thing or not, as we can see, you know, things are so temporary. Like I moved to Melbourne for 6 months and now I'm back in Sydney, and I thought I was going to be there, and I kind of felt like a bit of, you know, when I first got there in the first 3 months, it was rough. I was thinking about moving back, and I was like, oh, I made this whole thing about moving. People are going to judge me. It's like, you can't base your decisions on that. So I have been apartment hunting for the past 2 weeks, and it is slim pickings out there. It is. So let me just run you through what I'm looking for. I want to be in the east, in the beaches. So like Bronte, Bondi, Coogie's, pushing it. would prefer Bondi. Bondi's my #1 gal, but Bondi's very competitive. But I want a 2-bedroom apartment. So my last one was a 1-bedroom in Bronte, and it was tiny, which was fine. It didn't have aircon, didn't have a dishwasher. Like, it was, I wouldn't say I was roughing it. It was actually a really nice space. It was so cute for my first time living alone. But now I just want, like, I want a 2nd bedroom so that A, I can have people come to visit and stay, as in my sister. And B, I want an office space because I work from home. I spend so much time at home. I want a space, like, I'm really big on zoning places. So like the bedroom is where you sleep. The office is where you work, because if you work in your office, and I know this from my uni days when I studied in my work, like next to my bed, it was really hard to switch off, whether that was conscious or subconscious. Like, you go to bed and be like, that's where I study, ideas, things. I mean, maybe not study, because like I was a pretty good student, but like maybe more work. So I don't want to work in the living room or the dining room, and like they're just such small apartments. And 2-bedroom apartments in Bondi are effing expensive, hard to come across. They don't have things like parking. Like, I want to get a new car this year, and so like I want a nice car as well, and I want it to be like, it needs to be parked underground. Like, that's sort of common sense. You can't live in Bondi and not have a car park, but a lot of the car parks are just like not underground, they're just off street. So I want a car park, I want 2 bedrooms, I want aircon, I want a dishwasher, I want floorboards, I want it to be content, like cute for content. As I said earlier, I'm looking at like 900 to 1200 a week, and that's just like effed. Like, I'm just not willing to spend that much on rent, so I need to make some sacrifices somewhere, and I've narrowed it down. I don't want to sacrifice location, so I think it's either going to be a 1-bedroom place or a 2-bedroom place that isn't as nice, or maybe doesn't have aircon, which is okay. Like, I can handle that. So that's where I'm at. Oh, I also want it to be pet friendly, because I kind of have a dog, but I don't. Like, I went to visit a friend, Susie, who does my eyebrows, and she has these puppies, and they're Dameranians. Can we focus? Yeah, the light's just going. Okay. Yeah, Dachshund cross Pomeranian. I've always wanted a Dachshund pup, so this was just like weird, crazy. So I think, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get one of those puppies, because I picked one up and she was like, oh, Patch is everyone's favorite. And I was like, Patch? That's my childhood dog's name. This is a sign. So anyway, that's my life update. I'm moving to Sydney. I'm looking for an apartment. I'm struggling to find an apartment. I might be back in Melbourne soon to get my car, because Ubers are getting very expensive. And I'm getting a puppy. I don't think you like to focus there. And I'm getting a puppy. Okay, so it's getting really dark and my camera's getting really blurry, and it's gonna annoy me when I look back on this video. So I'm just gonna leave it there. It's actually sunnier and warmer, or maybe not warmer, but sunnier in Melbourne than in Sydney, which is a rare occurrence. So I still have my stuff. I've landed about 12:30. My watch used to automatically, okay, so I landed 2 hours ago. I've just been at this cafe behind me here, because Jacob, my coach, has my car, because he lives near the airport and he dropped me off. What a legend. And then he hasn't been answering his phone, so I'm like, okay, I'll just go to a cafe and wait. But I need to go get a COVID test, because I was in an orange zone. So go get that test done and then just chill at home until the results come in, and unpack and get my life organized. There's a dog in this car that's just like looking at me. Can you see? Hello. Hello, friend. Did you miss me? Did you miss me? Okay, you are absolutely my nephew. If you're loving, just focusing on the food. What are you going to choose? You know you have to spit the dummy out if you want to eat it. Who's that handsome boy? Hey guys, I'm back in Melbourne, as you can see. I'm just gonna end the YouTube here because, yeah, it's probably long. And big update, big life update for you all. So I'm going to be heading back to Sydney next week, I think. Oh yeah, I got an apartment. I got approved for the apartment that I want. And it's pet friendly, so I can pick up Patch. And yeah, I've got to figure out like moving interstate and everything, so I'll show you guys packing and moving and all that stuff that's coming up. But make sure you subscribe, like, follow, comment, anything. Sorry, this has been a bit of a whirlwind one, but I'll see you back here soon.